Amigos, worldwide fans of cinema. You got Jaime En Fuego here once more for Enfuegotainment with my brother and buddy here.
What's up? I'm CECIL LAIRD.
Yeah, we do the horror show together, but this is where we cover the hottest entertainment with an edge. Fantasy, sci-fi, all kinds of craziness, and it was a very fantastical Steven Spielberg film that we were both really looking forward to. Maybe it didn't deliver quite as much. We're going to be talking today about the BFG.
Because I hears your lonely heart. I was hearing all the secret whisperings of the world.
And yeah, man, that's the thing. We always cover Bueno, Malo, and Feo here. I'm anxious to talk about what I didn't like in this movie, more so than the good stuff. And I know that doesn't necessarily bode well, but to start things out and be nice and objective here, the good in this film about a young girl from an orphanage who is plucked out by a big friendly giant, you know, I love the interplay between those two main characters. That was the most endearing thing for me. Ruby Barnhill as the young girl who has, you know, her parents have died and she meets a new friend in this late night 3 a.m. You know, streetwalker, but much larger than anybody would have anticipated walking the streets at that time of night, right?
Yeah, it was an interesting dynamic between them. I did not sort of fall in love with their relationship like
Really?
you may have.
No,
yeah.
I did. That was the best part for me.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I wasn't a big fan of this movie, frankly.
Yeah.
It was a big disappointment for me. It was not nearly as magical as I was hoping it would be. In fact, it was a little bit tedious at times.
Well, Spielberg has set the benchmark so high for his work, you know. I mean, from Jaws to Raiders to Jurassic Park. I mean, so many other things beyond that. And so E.T., how can I forget that? So.
Yeah. You know, if I had to pick a bueno, though, I would probably go with all of the 9 other giants. The, you know, the blood dripper and the bone cruncher and the child chewer. You know?
There was very interesting use of language in this, I thought, you know, from the mistaken language of BFG and his the blumble schnuckle niffers and all that craziness. I mean, I could imagine kids liking it a little more than me, but
yeah, you needed a decoder
it embraced my
ring.
inner child a little bit.
Yeah, but I liked the other giants because they were the bloodthirsty giants and they were supposed to be scary and they messed with the BFG like he was a football practically.
Well,
so.
he's a little runt of like their litter, so to speak.
And frankly, all of the other giants looked really good.
Yeah,
but
they did. Good
the more,
CGI.
well,
you know?
see, that's a disagreement
good,
we
but
may
not
have.
great.
Yeah, like all the BFG was sort of hit and miss sometimes for me, and all of the interactions with the girl. Physically were hit and miss for me. You could tell they were rotoscoping a ton, and so that didn't quite work for me. So I would say the other giants are my bueno if I had to narrow one down.
Okay, cool. And you had Jaime Clement doing the voice of one Bill Hader as well. I mean, they were very heavily oxygen type thing, but they still were good, man. You know, and I'm really like grasping at straws here. I found some humor in a little bit of the interaction as well, especially in the later half of the story, but. It's easy to segue into the Malo here, the bad stuff, because I know it was based on the children's book.
By Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl, yeah. 1982, if I'm not mistaken. Also originally based on one of his short stories, so he expounded on the idea. It was popular enough to do that, but the translation just was not so good, especially to get moderate spoilery. A British armed guard comes into play, and it was about, I mean, it's almost borderline ugly Feo, but we'll just leave it at that. So storytelling-wise, it was all very pedestrian. There was no sense of dread, even though they made mention of all these children disappearing, and yet they never made amends or had much explanation for that. It was all just, you know...
That was it.
Yeah,
it was
I
just
know.
mentioned
Zilch,
in passing.
nada.
Yeah.
You know, nothing beyond that. So.
Yeah, and that's just one of my many Malos. I mean, it was just, like I said, kind of a pedestrian movie. It was not super interesting. They didn't do a lot of interesting things. They seemed to take the easy way out. They definitely went for the lowest common denominator humor. Yeah,
I'll save that for my fail. But
yeah, it was pretty rough. I mean, the whole movie all around, it's just there's not very many redeeming qualities. I mean, visually it looked pretty for the most part.
Yeah.
But it was still distracting. The CG was distracting a lot of times. So I guess
Not
if I had to
as
narrow
much
down
for
a
me.
MALO, that would be my MALO. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like the capturing of dreams in the bottles. I thought that was cool, and there were certain visual bits that I thought worked, but then there were others that, you know, looked very fake and did not, and took you out of the whole fantasy aspect of it.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, the scale, they're still having problems with scale and making it look like he's carrying her around.
On his shoulder.
Yeah, or in his hand, and it just looks so awkward still.
Yeah, no, it does. And so, jumping into Feo, the ugly stuff, I must say, Spielberg going back to big budget, you know, happy stuff as opposed to doing like the horse movie and the Bridge of Spies and all this.
And that trailer got me excited too.
I know, because it's Spielberg, man. I mean, with the exception of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, when he goes into the big budget, you know, fun, happy, interesting type things of this nature, he usually succeeds, but maybe, just like George Lucas, dare I say.
Missing a step? I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
well, he's got the one that you're familiar with, right? The Ready Player One, that's his next one, and he's going to do another Indiana Jones movie.
See, I think Ready Player One is more up his alley because there's built-in sort of references to all kinds of stuff that you can sort of build the film around, and there's all kinds of visual set pieces that are going to be necessary
there's
to pull the
references to
film
him,
off.
yeah, right? Like in the book.
But they already said they're not going to be dealing with those references. They're going to skip those references.
That's right. Well,
so.
I mean, I don't think he'll skip all of them. Maybe keep a couple, but, you know, at least tone it down significantly.
But yeah, so, I mean, ultimately the Feo was just my dashed expectations, you know, by the end of the movie. I was just disappointed that
I liked it.
I was just not. The resolution was ham-fisted and easy, and there was no like. It's like, really, that's how this is going to end. They've been eating kids. Like,
was that not the book?
I don't remember exactly how the book ends. Frankly, I don't remember it involving the British Royal Guard and all this stuff. Like,
spoiler heavy, the Feo is the scene where there's a particular booze that is made that the
bubbles go
drink.
down.
The bubbles go downward as opposed to upward. It's the weirdest thing. So as opposed to burping it out, you can only imagine, guys. And that's the lowest common denominator Sir Cecil is referring to.
Yeah, so it was really rough, you guys.
Except for when those little dogs.
Don't rush out to see this. You know, don't buy this. Wait and see it however you can.
That's another Feo.
Easily and cheaply as you can.
Another Feo is that nobody rushed out to see this.
No, I can't blame them. I mean, the word of mouth on this, I wouldn't blame people for not going. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to people.
Critics were pretty,
really?
It was like B+, I think. I'm not sure if it's fresh on Rotten or anything, but yeah, the critics seemed to like it, but the audiences didn't. It's like 160 million making this, man, to do barely over 20 in its opening weekend. It's a bona fide bomb, guys. Sorry, Disney. You had it with Jungle Book and Dory and all these others, but we're going to even you guys out just a little bit. A little bit,
yeah. This one was rough.
Yeah, but thanks for joining me for it regardless, man, and gracias to you guys for checking out this video, seeing if the film is indeed worthwhile to check out. I guess both of us, theatrically, no bueno, man. This is no bueno.
And you do not need
certified
to
fuego.
see it in 3D if you do see it in the theater.
Yeah, despite whatever reports you may have read, it is not. It's post-convert and it does not look that good. So that's another Feo probably. But we're going to wrap things up. I'm going to say gracias to Cecil. To you viewers, once again, you can check me, Jaime En Fuego, out on all social media sectors, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and then the show that Sir Cecil and I do together. He's going to give you guys the deets on right now.
That's The Horror Show. We do a horror variety show on YouTube at youtube.com/The Horror Show channel. Horror movie reviews, how-tos, comedy sketches, celebrity interviews, event coverage, everything under the horror umbrella.
Yes, not to get horror-y, guys.
Yeah,
oh, Lord.
that's all there, so check it out.
Yes, indeed. And so, once again, guys, thank you so very much. And until next time, Paso Amigos, hasta luego. But let's make it sooner rather than later. Peace.